Welcome back, friend. Thank you very much for being here. And if you are new to this channel, I am so grateful that my information has found you. Today's conversation, the actual New World Order. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Leann Wolff. I am a human design and BG5 business professional. I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I'm a cattle rancher. And the one thing that I love the most is that I am an incessant researcher. So what I get to do every day is I get to help men and women all over the planet stand in their own self-mastery by recognizing the patterns that are holding them back, walking through the pain of that into the pleasure, so that the direction that they are designed to be walking down, that particular trajectory they are designed to be walking down, they are inspired to stand in their own power. And by doing so, men and women all over the world are becoming abundant, having healthy relationships, having dynamics in the family that are recognizable and harmonious. And they just get to stand in the pairing up with their own higher self and walking through life with such pleasure. All right, so let's get into today's material. You haven't seen me here for 3 weeks, and the reason is I am building out my self-mastery movement. This is an online course which also has weekly coaching calls. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a sell here and update you on this just so that you're aware. This particular course is going to have at least 100 hours of online learning through my filters, through my perception, through the understanding I have of the human design system. And then what happens is that not only are you going to get the structure of it, we are going to walk through the art of it. And the art of it is actually the application piece, okay? And I've been working on this for 3 weeks, and it is a profound application. So I'm going to leave the links below. You can definitely jump on board if you'd like to, and if not, that's good too. So you're going to really get a feel for how I'm going to walk you through this self-mastery, even, while you're here on this free YouTube channel. I'm going to show you today some of the deep depths that I go to when I walk through this material. And I don't mix anything with it besides leading edge, cutting edge science, because I think that when you dive deeply into the human design body graph and into all of the information here, there is some profound encryption that is here. So let's move on. So the actual New World Order. So what I want you to really, really understand is that the cross of planning, which also has the cross of Maya, okay? There's 2 crosses that are happening here. And the cross of planning and the cross of Maya has, they've been doing their job. They did their job for 400 years, and they're going to still continue to do the job for the next 7. But I want to show this to you again. I've done a video about this. Global cycles here. Just going to pop it up quick. I've already done that video, but I want to just bring this to you in a whole, like in a little bit of a simplistic way, so that you can grasp the fact that this cross, this cycle, this larger global orchestrated directory is coming to a close. And right now the world feels very, very, very torn. And we are moving over to the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So I want to bring this to you because I want you to grasp this at a very, very deep, profound, and yet simplistic way. So why do I say the actual New World Order? Because this cross of planning and the cross of the Maya, both of these they are coming to a close. They no longer are going to be the keys, okay, the keys for the locks. The locks are the 8 gates within the G center, or the love and direction center. Okay, so the cross of planning and the cross of Maya, these are actually the keys. This is what really has unlocked this particular cycle. So where are we standing? What is this all about? So the nature, this is the 10th gate. So the nature for the last 400 years, up until 2026, when this comes to a close, and in 2027, when the new cycle takes over, we've been really, our behavior has been around focusing on logic. Okay, focusing on logic. What is our example or our creative self-expression? It's been about continuity, or the lack of continuity, if you want to really look at the this and the that. So the temple, the body, the actual love of the body has been, hey, this has been this aloneness, but yet the 40 is also the foreman. It's a worker. It wants to work. So there's been this work that the body has been put through for the continuity and the focus of our logical movement forward. Then really what has been the role of our leaders? And the role of our leaders has been to, the 62 is a part of the cross of the Maya. And the cross of the Maya is about naming things. The details, the logical naming. If we give it a name, then all of a sudden people can understand it, and then it can then land in the cellular structure, because the 62, again, the 62 is the logical stream. The logical stream goes through the spleen. And the spleen is our memory circuit. This is where all of our memories, millions of years of memories, are within the spleen. So we can see this. In 400 years, our vocabulary went from very simplistic to having numerous different dictionaries. If you text, you have to have a dictionary, because I don't have a clue what these kids are saying. There's the Urban Dictionary. There is, there's all kinds of dictionaries, right? Wikipedia is out there, and all this stuff's out there. So we have created languaging, so much languaging over the last 400 years, because if we give it language, it can land. So now just look at all the propaganda that's happening on all aspects, whether you look at particularly mainstream media, or if you look at independent journalism, there's all this languaging. We are bombarded daily with details, or not really truthful details. Truthful details, not truthful details. All kinds of details we have been bombarded with. So that's really been what is leading us down this path, right? We see this in our leadership teams as well. Let's language it. Let's word it to death. Oh my goodness. In every single industry in the world, the amount of paperwork and all of that has increased by tons. And yet here we are in this technical age. And yet we still need all this paperwork. The pattern has been, again, in the 16. This is, again, logic. So what, has magnetized? What is this pattern? What is this, magnetism that we've had? And it is about identifying with logic. and future and details and focus and continuity and working really hard for that continuity. So there's this been identification and, this skills, right? This honing in of skills. Like when we look back 500 years ago, what we have on this planet now for skills was not here 500 years ago. So that's been our pattern. That's been what has been, holding us in this movement that we've been in for 400 years. And then the plan has been, let's bring this cycle to a close. Okay, that's the plan is about bringing the cycle to a close. Now you can look at this very nefariously or not, but the cycle is coming to a close, and it just so happens that this closing of the cycle on this particular shift is going to, open a new cycle, but we're going to get there. So there's been this growth. So we've walked through the growth. We've come to this maturing in what we're identifying with, maturing with words, maturing with how we work on this planet, maturing with the continuity, maturing with the particular focus that we have. That's been the plan. That's been the vision. How do we grow? How do we, come to this place of, okay, here we are. We've matured in this cycle. And the way has been family. And family, we have procreated a lot in the last 400 years. We have, changed the population of this planet drastically in 400 years. And that is going away. That is breaking down. The way is no longer the family and the friends and the bargain. Okay? And the witness, this is what I probably appreciate, so deeply here. So the 61st gate is our inner truth. This is our connection to source. The 61st gate is an individual gate. So when human design came onto the planet, what did Ra always say and always said right till the moment that he passed? And if you have a really good teacher that actually understands human design deeply, this is about witnessing, having self-awareness, witnessing this bubble of biology, interacting and interfacing with the world. We are designed to witness. We were designed for this last 400 years. Within this cross of planning and this, 3740, this channel that was created. And this channel is all about bargains and community and contracts and giving away our inner authority to government and big pharma, and that was the plan. Okay, that's what the cross of planning was all about, and it did its job. And the whole entire time, the witness has been witnessing the truth of this within ourselves, and knowing that our individual, power, as we witnessed how we gave it away, we're now going to, in these next 7 years, witness how we are going to drop back into our own power. Now, why do I say that? Okay, the New World Order. The New World Order, whether you are a conspiracy theorist, a truther, someone who looks at all aspects of this game that's playing out for us. The cross of planning and the cross of Maya are coming to a close, period. We can feel how anybody that is deeply seated or deeply invested, or, their livelihood has depended on this particular cross, they're freaking out. Because they can feel that it's also coming to a close. because the global orchestrated directory is changing. We're moving into this cross of the sleeping phoenix and the cross of penetration. So the locks of our identity or G center are now having these particular keys unlock the beauty of who we are to be human. So our nature is going from a very logical, focused energy to personal power. The 34, just so you really can hone in on this, the 34 isn't about giving your personal power to anybody else. It's about using your personal power for your own charismatic manifestation in the now. It is about using your own personal power to live life to your own convictions. It's about using your own personal power to survive spontaneously in the now. This has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else but you. Hence the reason the self-mastery movement was dropped into my knowing. This is the movement into personal power. The example, 57, intuition. Our creative self-expression and our example of our own nature is going to be intuitive clarity. Intuitively standing in our own power. This is very, very profound, you guys. The temple. This is about achieving union. Achieving union with what? Achieving union with the power that we hold within our temple. We worked our asses off, you guys, for 400 years. And now, the key to this, for the next 400 years, starting 2027, is to achieve union with your own self-power, with your own intuitive clarity. The leader. This is a whole new, brand new cycle. And it just so happens that our movement, our leadership going forward, this seventh gate that is our logical leadership into the future, is all about a brand new cycle. And you know what? Brand new cycles are potentially going to bring some of the best parts and possibly some of the worst parts of the last, global orchestrated directory of the cross of planning and the cross of Maya. Because every new thing is built off of that old. Always. And the pattern? So we were totally identified with logic, with future, with skills, with naming things. Now the pattern is contemplation in the now. And the plan came to a close. Now the plan is, let's shock. Let's shock and let shock move us and initiate us into our own mystical way. Because the 51 is a part of the mystical way. And it takes us from this cross of planning, okay? Because the mystical way is the 19, 49, 37, 40, 51, 25, 10, 20. So this planning, this is shocking us and initiating us into the power that we hold within us. There is nothing outside of your skin that can hold you back from the power that is held within your bubble of biology. Period. And this next 7 years, we are going to have this tested like crazy. We are going to be shocked and initiated because, of course, this energy kind of wavers, a few years before and a few years after. We are going to be shocked into the initiation of just how effing powerful we are as a human being. And the way was family. Populate, procreate, create these bargains, make more, make more, make more. Now it is dropping into the spirit of self. How this innocence of this 25th gate will be unlocked when we stand in our own spirit and allow for that spirit to absolutely ride the pain and the pleasure of life. And the witness moves out of this 61st gate of inner truth to ambition. And there's going to be this fuel that will, provide this ambition for us to stand in our own power on the material way and really hone in to the correct ambition. And what does that look like in human design terms, you guys? Wait for response. Wait for recognition and invitation. Inform prior to action, and wait for a lunar cycle. That is the fuel for the correct ambition, so that you and I get to absolutely stand in our charismatic power and be initiated into standing in our own mystical way, knowing our own spirit, and absolutely achieving union in this whole brand new cycle of achieving this union to the power that we hold within. The Global Orchestrated Directory is absolutely empowering us in such a deep way. It is supporting us in such a deep way, and it is sharing with us exactly how we can do this. And we have all the frickin' tools, you guys, in the human design system. So the actual New World Order has absolutely F all to do with these, tyrannical people out there that are trying to, suppress and hold back human beings. They are, using this last 7 years to catapult us into the power that we hold within ourselves. I am so passionate about this, I can't even tell you how passionate I am. Now, the other thing I want to share with you today, and this might be a little bit of a soapbox for you, however, this is really profound. So, the encryption in every single one of these gates, and every single one of the lines, the encryption is so deep and juicy in here that I can't even tell you the understanding and the profound wisdom that has dropped into me, based off of this last little craziness in this world that's trying so hard to hold on to this cross that is diminishing. It's moving away. And I want to bring you this 36th gate. And why do I want to do that? Because it is so damn profound in the human experiential way. The human experiential way is the 41, 30, 36, 35. How do we progress? Well, you know what? There has to be this gate of crisis. So we have to have this darkening of the light. Every single new cycle. Okay? So the rule of cycles, in which decline is a natural but not enduring state. This decline can't endure. Okay? It can't endure. Because every time a cycle comes to a close in the 42, the 53 is right there to start a new cycle. We are always ending, middle, or beginning, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. We're always doing that. So the decline isn't an enduring state. The decline is always that little bit of the, to bring in the sleeping phoenix, right? We bring down these ashes and then we rise up out of them. So the 36th gate is a part of the right angle cross of Eden. So when you're looking at these things, you got to look at the whole freaking thing, and then you got to put it in to the design, and it's profound, all the levels that happen here. Okay, so you carry a light in your heart of how life can be filled with love, yet you encounter much crisis. It is a lifelong journey to return to the Garden of Eden and that place of love and light and intelligence. So the 36th gate knows that there is love out there, okay? But it is going to encounter the crisis, and it needs to come to a place of love, light, and intelligence. The juxtaposition of this particular gate is the cross, or the cross of crisis. So you become an expert in becoming the bridge between crisis and trust in oneself, as you have numerous experiences in life that guide you to peace and unity. And then the left angle cross of the plane. We are on this plane, right? We are on this Maya, you guys. We're on this material, experience. So your karma is to assist the disadvantaged to walk through crisis into a smoother path. Now, why am I bringing you the cross, or again, the crosses within the gate? Well, once you understand each layer of it, then the whole encryption uncovers itself. So within what's taking place right now in the world, we feel all this crisis. This is an experience we're all going through collectively. And within that, the beauty of this gate presents itself. So the first line is always, the foundation of crisis is resistance, the energy and determination to persevere in the face of opposition. So the emotional power to handle crisis. So an over-principled resistance that, rather than being selective in resistance and thus less at risk, will maintain normal patterns and incur opposition. A resistance to change that will always bring crisis. So here's what we can do in a crisis. If you're awake and you're aware and you're trusting your strategy and your authority, there's this, the program is saying, listen, I will, help you and share the emotional power to handle crisis. But if we're resisting the change, it's always going to bring crisis. Change has to happen. And this cycle is coming to a close. So if you're awake and you're aware and you understand your human design and you know this stuff at a deep level, you can watch these changes happen on the outside and on the inside, and you just blend with it and walk with it and go with the flow of it. So whatever tyranny is out there, pay attention to what's happening on the inside. Are you actually experiencing any of that tyranny? Or are you fully, in this emotional power and you can handle any kind of crisis? Or are you resisting it so deeply that crisis is constantly on your doorstep and in your experience? Okay? So the second line is the natural, right? As we move up, this is the foundation. The second line is the natural. So it's about support. It's the assistance to others in times of decline. So people that have this natural ability to, hold this love in their heart, okay? And to be able to share this love and light in amongst the crisis are there to, assist us. So the application of imagination to schemes which benefit others. So feelings that can benefit others in times of crisis. or the more practical and individual assistance, but only when unavoidable and not as a general principle, selective assistance in time of crisis. So again, we have the higher expression of it and the challenging expression of it. Where are you in that? Are you trusting your strategy and authority? Are you being selective about who you assist? Now, some of you are going like, I don't have this gate. I have no idea why you're even talking about this. Well, we have the whole matrix within our DNA. And what is defined in the DNA, what's defined in our body graph is our, activated DNA and RNA. But 98% of that junk DNA that sits there, that's all the openness. It's still there. Are we allowing it to flow through us? Are we gaining the wisdom of it? Is it actually activated in your DNA? Are you designed to represent it? So the third line is transition, the point at which decline has exhausted its power. So as the darkening of the light takes place, the non-enduring stage of the decline, it's going to exhaust its power. So the ability to establish a new order out of the ashes of the old, the emotional depth to endure crisis and embrace change. The third line is telling us, if we want to continue on and move forward into the progress of the 35th gate, there is going to be a transition period, and we have to embrace change. And know that decline will exhaust itself. Decline will exhaust its powers. So the tendency in renewal to try to assimilate the remains of the old order into the new, with the risk that it may rise against the new order once it has regained its strength. So like I said, the old always wants to still sneak in there. And also, what is so important to know is that there's always a this and a that. There is always going to be an old order and a new order. There is always going to be a this and a that. A good and a bad, a dark and a white, or light. There's all that has to, in our reality, at this time, in order for us to recognize this, world that we're living in, it is a duality. So the embrace of the change. So embrace of the change, but with feelings that will not let go of the past. So again, where are you in this? Are you embracing change? Or are you not ready to let go? That cross of planning, guess what? It's coming to a close. So I would suggest, really deeply in the next 7 years, hence the reason I created Self-Mastery Movement, is to drop into the change. To drop into re-establishing and repairing your connection to your higher self, so that this meat suit can repair. Espionage is in the fourth. The ability to prepare for and anticipate decline through the accumulation of secret or privileged information. The realization that knowledge, both covert and esoteric, is necessary if one is to be prepared for crisis and change. So, insider information? Yep. Insider information and a pure connection to higher self is absolutely necessary to walk through crisis. So the tendency in recognizing the strengths of the opposition to accept that the inevitability of decline, and rather that resist, to offer one's service to guarantee survival. That double agent. Crisis knowledge that is available to others for a price. Hence the reason espionage, there's always a price when it is being used for the darkening of the light. And then the highest expression of this is the underground, the perfected survival regardless of conditions. Immunity to crisis as both generator and survivor. And a nervousness that can lead to self-betrayal. Self-betrayal nervousness in times of crisis. Self-betrayal equals zero connection to the esoteric and to the self, the higher self, the understanding and connection. So once there is this self-betrayal, the crisis will continue to show up in the life. And then justice, the inevitable survival of right. So, the knowledge and attendant faith that the powers of darkness eventually destroy themselves. Those whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make mad. The correctness of crisis when it arises out of pure feelings. Do you see how powerful that is? When we absolutely can trust that we all have emotional power to handle the crisis because the program, the human design matrix, is saying, I will share this with you. That when we allow for, our own ability to handle crisis, and then we assist others in times of decline, and where we can recognize that in order to transition, we need to embrace change. Because there's always a point where decline exhausts its power. And then making sure that we have privileged information. Privileged information comes from covert and esoteric connections. And then there's an immunity to crisis. There's an absolute perfected survival, regardless of the outside condition. And knowing full well that the darkness eventually destroys itself. Okay? Or the profound sorrow in cynicism that is not diminished by the understanding that darkness is self-annihilating. The sorrow of cynicism that comes with seeing that despite the correctness of feeling, there is always a crisis. So, the higher expression of this is indicating the story that I just said. Or, the challenging aspect is like, there's a resistance to change. All of this stuff is very unavoidable. It's selective. Bringing all that old baggage with, bringing all that old energy with, never letting go of the past. And, acting as this, double agent where crisis knowledge is available, but you know what? I'm going to have to charge you for it. There's going to be a price to pay, and usually it's called blackmail. Because all that baggage that you keep wanting to drag with you, or you want to try to hide, we're going to find it. And then this self-betrayal, always betraying the self, being this double agent and betraying the self, always crisis is going to come along. So when I talk to you about the encryption of this, you guys, it's big. It's big in here. So here's what I would love to see. Here's what I would love to see is that for a moment, evaluate what is my experience in all of this crisis that's happening on our planet. What is your experience? I'm going to share with you what my experience is. for the most part, nothing has changed in my life, except for I have made more money over the last 6 weeks, staying true to who I am and continuing to operate the frequency of the God code that is within this body graph and which resides inside this meat suit. So money isn't evil. Money is a reward for correctness. Any of the stores I've gone to, there's always a plethora of food. Any store that I walk into, they're not, mandatory masks. There's no craziness happening. There's no, social distancing. There's none of that's happening. Because inside of me, I have justice as part of my design. I know that those that are going to be destroyed are going to go mad first. And why? Because the mental plane is so incessantly strong that if there is no connection, if there's been pure self-betrayal, and if there is no self-connection to the esoteric, and if there is no way to handle crisis or to embrace change, that is going to make people mad. And mad is in mentally unwell. There's a mental unrest happening there. So evaluate, what has your experience been of this? What has your experience been? And then evaluate, how are you operating the human design? Or are you letting the human design operate you? Which, that's how it should operate. Because there's nothing to figure out. There's nothing to get in the way of. The beauty of that design, when it works through you, there is a pure connection to higher source and the wisdom and this absolute empowerment and support and sharing that the program has for us, for our evolution. Now, if all of that is just gobbledygook to you, I really can't even verbalize it any better. We are all designed to have our connection. We are all designed to stand in our own power. And we are all designed to be supported, empowered, and the information shared with us to move us to evolution. So just evaluate, where are you? What's going on? And if the self-mastery program and movement is something that is good for you, great. If not, that's okay too. But my question to you is, what is the cost to you to continue to let the mental plane run the show? Because I will tell you that I am more rich today in integrity and correctness, abundance of joy than I ever have been when I walked this world through the mental plane. Human design brings us grace. And the 22nd gate has for a very long time been sitting there. And the grace of God is saying, I have you. I am empowering you through this mutative energy that we're walking through right now. The 61st gate of Pluto. The 60th gate, I believe it's Jupiter. Let me just check it out here. So the 61st gate of Jupiter and the 60th gate actually of Saturn, and the 61st gate of Pluto, the 61st gate of Jupiter, and the 60th gate of Saturn. So that was April 18th. Now let's just check out what it is today. And why did I pick April 18th? Because that was the last time I did a video. So between then and now, Pluto is still and is going to continue to go in and out actually until 2022. I think the last video I did, I took you guys up until 2021, but it actually goes in and out of the 60th gate up until 2022. So our inner truth, it's empowering us. The 22nd gate of Neptune has been gracefully empowering us. The 60th gate of Saturn is here to empower our transcendence. The 60th gate is sitting in Jupiter. It is here empowering our transcendence. So what I want you to really, really, really grasp is that there is so much empowerment here. So much. And yet we get very, very caught up and distracted on the mental plane and the garbage that's happening there. The cross of planning will destroy itself because it's designed to do that. It's designed to come to a close, and it is coming to a close. And those that do not like it are scared shitless of it. So I encourage you to run your life, operate your life by getting the F out of the way and letting your human design show up. And if you want to walk this with me, self-mastery movement is a place to be. If not, I'm okay with that as well. All right, friends, have a wonderful day, and please go forth and live your God code. Thank you.